everybody, I'm Gary and thank you for stopping by Killer Off-Road Hobbies. We're doing another first look video today, and today we're doing a Killer Off-Road Hobbies first too. This is the first car that has been on this channel. We've had buggies, truggies, monster trucks, even a drone, but this is quite literally the first car that we've had on here. This is a rally car. This is from KingMotor, as you can see on the side. It is the Explorer RX four-wheel drive rally car. Now, some of you might see a couple familiar things on here. We'll get into that in a little bit, but this is 1/7 scale. It is a quite large RC, and the body just makes it all that much bigger. So our focus on this today is going to be to go over this, tell you what all it comes with, and then I'm going to kind of give you guys an idea of what I plan to do with this thing, with this being the first car slash rally car on here. Alrighty, so let's go over a few of the stats and then we'll talk about all the other stuff in a minute. Let's get into it. Alright, so as I said, this is a 1/7 scale. It is classified as a 1/7 scale anyways. So it is a pretty large RC. The body just kind of makes it look quite a bit bigger. But coming in at 24.5 inches long, 12 inches wide, and 9 inches tall, depending on how high you raise the body post. Yes, it is quite a large car. So pulling the body off, as you can see, it is very well done. A lot of these stickers don't come on here. It does come with a huge sticker sheet, and I tend not to overdo it with stickers, so I just put a few on here. Nothing really special, but enough to make it look cool in my eyes. It is a little dusty because it has been sitting in my garage for quite a while, but underneath I didn't do it like super legit, like I didn't tape off the windows and stuff, but I did use some Flex Seal in here. So yeah, it feels good. It's nice and flexible, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna crack very easily, and hopefully it holds up because with a body this big, it's definitely going to take a beating. But I do think it looks pretty cool. The color scheme reminds me of like a Subaru WRX, that blue. So it is a pretty cool looking body. One note I do want to make before we move past the body is this rear wing comes detached. It's something you actually have to put on the body, and it's just held on there with like double-sided sticky tape. So I mean, if you wanted to go the extra mile, you could poke a couple holes in it, or you know, drill it and put a few screws through it if you want to reinforce it. I will most likely do that if I have a problem with it like popping off of there or whatever. So moving on to the car. Wait, there's another thing on here. Ha 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 ha. So you do get this nice dust cover that covers everything. It is a solid piece of Lexan. It does have a little mount up front here with a body clip that goes through this hole right here, and then the rear is held on with Velcro on the sides here. The body also has Velcro that sticks to these side pieces that you can move in and out, adjustable. The ESC does sit back here, and I did this. It doesn't come like this. I poked holes in it to give it more ventilation. I did that right out of the gate because it's starting to get warm here as of the time of this video, and I'm hoping to avoid any heat issues by doing this. Alright, so now that I've showed you the body and that, before we go over the chassis, I'm going to go to the boring stuff real quick, and then we'll come right back to the car. So with this kit, there is two versions of this kit. You can get this almost ready to run that I got. It is basically a ready to run. It does come with a transmitter and receiver and everything. The difference being a battery. The other version of this does come with a 6S LiPo, a single 6S LiPo. in it. Everything else is the same. You get the same transmitter and everything, but the 6S LiPo version is quite a bit more expensive. So you can pick this version up that I got without the LiPo for about 380 bucks anywhere that you can basically find it. And the version with the LiPo is $505. I believe that's the only difference. It might come with different color wheels. I think it might come with gold wheels, but everything else is the same. You get the 6S LiPo, gold wheels for $505. And this version without the 6S LiPo and with just these neon yellow wheels is going to run you about 380 bucks. The choice is up to you whether you want to spend the extra money or not. Alrighty, so going over the transmitter, this is a very nice transmitter. It is 2.4 gigahertz. It runs on 4 AA's and it is an LCD screen. As you can see, it's got a ton of adjustments. I do have a couple of these transmitters. I do like them quite a bit. The only problem I have is, of course, I hold my transmitters funny. Anybody who's watched my channel very much knows that I hold them weird like this. But the only problem I have with it is that my knuckle is kind of, you know, tight under here, but that's my own goofiness of how I hold it. It does have a 3rd channel button up under here though, and you do have adjustments around this drop down wheel that has a foam on it. It's very nice. I have used this transmitter before. I haven't had any range issues or any like issues of it like tweaking out or anything like that. Has been a solid transmitter from my experience. It does have dual rate and trim for both steering and throttle. I do believe in the menu settings as well. It has endpoint adjustments and all that stuff. Very solid transmitter, especially for the price of this kit. So that's a good thumbs up to King Motors for supplying such a good transmitter with this ready to run. You also get this little bag of tools. You have a couple of Allen keys in here, a plastic like multi-tool. I guess it has several different things. You do get a wheel wrench right here. It does run the standard 17 millimeter nuts on the wheels, and you do get a spare spur gear, which I think is cool. The spur gear is plastic. This thing being 6S capable, we'll see how it holds up. But they do give you a spare, which is very nice, and you do get a couple of options in here for your plungers, for your shocks, to change the dampening rates for sure. So that is nice. And then last but not least, they give you the owner's manual here. Very solid. It's got all your part numbers. It has blow up and show you how to take apart everything. Tells you about the ESC, all that stuff. So this is a very solid owner's manual. I suggest you go through it if you decide to buy this kit. Solid information, and if you ever need to work on this thing at all, this has everything in here. Like I said, all the parts number, blow up, show you how everything is disassembled and like all the parts and where they go and everything. So very good. And that's enough of the boring stuff. Let's get back to the rally car. What? Rally car? I'm used to saying like buggy, truggy, or monster truck. Alrighty, so a few more of these stats. I will give you a pan over as I talk about this, but starting in the rear, you get this nice flexible but pretty solid feeling plastic rear bumper, I would call it. In front of that, you're going to have typical H-arms on the bottom with camber links on the top, so the camber will be adjustable. You do have oil-filled shocks. They are plastic bodied and capped, but they are threaded, so you can adjust ride height that way. And it does have a sway bar here in the rear, and you do have steel drive shafts. They are just standard dog bone, but should be plenty for this. Nothing too crazy going on. And you do have these nice aluminum hinge pin mounts, which is very, very good. They look to be nice and solid. As well, you have a aluminum shock tower. It looks to be about 4 millimeters thick. And you do have two adjustment points for your shocks, it looks like, and then three on the A arm. The A arm does have this nice cover on it, so it's not open. You're not going to get junk stuck in there. Moving forward from that, you have your 120 amp ESC that is 3 to 6S capable. 120 amp is kind of low for 6S, but we'll see how it runs. We'll see what kind of temps we get. Hopefully it's a decent ESC. I'm not sure what brand it is, what rebrand it is. It, however, does not look like a hobby wing, so I'm going to be interested to see how this thing runs. But I haven't heard much about this car, this rally car, so we'll see. We'll definitely see. Moving forward from that, you have your 1900 kV 4-pole brushless motor. That is 6S capable, of course. You have a nice aluminum center diff mount here that doubles as the motor mount. It looks very well thought out. Looks to be a very, very nice motor mount. You have easy mesh adjustment with a screw on top here, so that's actually a pretty nice setup. We'll have to see how it holds up, but it does look pretty well set up. And coming from that, this is a 3 diff setup, so you will be able to adjust your diffs to adjust your traction and everything with that. So that's just something to keep in mind. 3 diff setups are the way to go. Direct drive tends to be very, very hard on diffs. You do have your receiver box up here with your receiver in it. It is classified as water resistant. This thing is not claimed to be waterproof. It's claimed to be water resistant. So keep that in mind if you plan on driving in wet conditions. Moving forward from that, we have the KingMotor's 2013 20 kg metal geared steering servo. 20 kg should be plenty of torque for these tires that we're going to run on here. We have kind of like a street tire looking tread design, but this does run standard 17 millimeter hexes, so you should be able to run pretty much any buggy tires that you want. We'll have to see about body clearance and stuff like that, so I will let you know. But just moving into the tire real quick, they do feel pretty hard. The rubber feels nice and pliable. It's pretty stiff, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Talk about like the surfaces and everything that rally cars drive on. But as far as like the feel, they don't feel like they're going to get very good traction. They're very, very stiff. Very hard to push down on. I mean, these tires are rigid. Anyways, moving forward from that, you do have an adjustable servo saver right here. This bell crank and steering components look to be very solid. You will have adjustable toe in and out with these turnbuckles. They are adjustable. And the story in the front is a lot of the same as the rear. You have typical H-arms on the bottom with camber links up top, so your camber will be adjustable. You do have CVDs in the front instead of the standard dog bones, which is nice. CVDs are very, very good, especially on tires that turn. You do have the same thickness aluminum shock tower. The shocks, while being a little bit smaller up front, are plastic bodied and threaded, so you will be able to adjust your ride height. And the front bumper is foam. That is pretty standard on rally cars and street cars and stuff like that. So the bottom of the chassis, it's a nice flat pan aluminum chassis. It looks to be about 3.5 millimeters thick. Nice closed A-arms. This is countersunk. I mean, it's a pretty sweet looking chassis. And if you do recognize this chassis, that is because this is pretty much a HPI Apache Flux. This chassis was used as the HPI Apache Flux chassis, and it has been repurposed to be this King Motors rally car. Pretty cool stuff. I heard bad things about the Apache, but it was mostly like the overall design of the rig, not like the chassis and those components. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on with this. Alrighty, so now that we kind of went over everything you get with this, I'll tell you kind of what my plans are. So, I know everybody's like a big fan, that is a big fan of rally and all of that. They tend to focus more on the dirt track side of it, like, you know, them being off on dirt roads and jumping and all of that stuff. Well, most rally races, like 95% of the time, they're actually on pavement or tarmac, you know, whatever you want to call it. So they do tend to be a lot of an on-road car, but with off-road capabilities, you know, the four-wheel drive and all of that stuff, skid plates to protect it when it jumps and everything. So my plan with this is to run it on both. I plan to run this thing on the actual asphalt and pavement, maybe take it to a skate park or something like that and have fun with it, and try it off-road at my bash spot. I would say don't plan on me like airing this thing out and trying to do backflips with it and whatnot. I mean, I do want to give this thing a good hard test, make sure it is a good basher, but at the same time I want to be fair with the capabilities of this vehicle. This thing is not going to be a high flyer, I don't think, but I could be wrong. You know, I could take it off a couple jumps, it could go very, very smoothly, and I could go bigger. I could just get into the zone and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just huck it off this jump and see what happens. But I do want to be fair to the car. I want to give it a good fair test and let you guys know what I think it is as an actual rally car. As I stated, rally cars spend most of their time on the pavement. I would say this thing will not be spending most of its time on pavement. It will be spending a lot of time out on trails, you know, like light to medium bashing. We are going to get this thing up in the air though. I will be jumping this thing and all of that stuff. And we'll be testing out the electronics. We'll start on 3S, we'll 3, 4, and 6S. We'll just test all the limits of this thing. We'll see how it holds up. And after all of that, I'll give you my honest review on this rally car. Alright everybody, so that's going to be it for the first look of the King Motors Explorer RX 4-wheel drive 1/7 scale rally car. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't be shy about smashing that thumbs down and let me know what you didn't like about this video. Stay tuned to Killer Off-Road Hobbies. We have a ton more coming at you. And check out that description if you got time. There's a bunch of cool stuff down there. You can become a patron, help support the channel, support me, and keep cool stuff like this coming to the channel. You can buy Killer Off-Road Hobbies merchandise, a lot like this shirt. I got a bunch of cool stuff down there, so if you got time, check it out. And as always, get out there, get an RC, go have some fun, and we'll see you right back here on the next video. Until then, peace!